Hey guys, Logan Bells here. So do you remember the last video I did? My review for Logan? At the end of it I said I'm going to do a video on movies I hadn't reviewed but later watched. Well, I'm going to be doing it now. So sit back and enjoy, me pointing out how I feel about these movies. There are some of the movies that were actually good. I've watched some good movies, but I also watched some bad movies. Yep. Without any further ado, let's dive into some of the 2017 movies I hadn't reviewed but later watched. Here we go. I wanted to start off with some good movies I watched. One of them, Hidden Figures, a movie about 3 black women working for NASA overcoming some racial diversity that has been their dilemma ever since they started working for NASA, and try to work their hardest to try to get the first American man into space and onto the moon. Hidden Figures was a really well done movie. I had a blast watching Hidden Figures. I just had a blast watching that movie. I would really recommend seeing this movie. I love Hidden Figures. It's a really well done movie. Now, on to another good movie. Get Out. Now, I feel like Hidden Figures did a lot better of showcasing what overcoming a racial diversity was than Get Out was, in a really good and innocent way, and I really love that about Hidden Figures. This movie was pretty much different from Hidden Figures, but still in the same subject for racism and the satire it was making, which is kind of unique because this is a psychological horror or thriller movie that actually has some humor in it, which actually worked, by the way. But yeah, I thought Get Out was a much better psychological thriller than Split was. Split was a flawed movie. It really was a flawed movie. I had a lot of problems with Split. I'm not saying it's a terrible movie, I'm just saying it's not a really good film. This movie is a really good psychological thriller film. It did a lot better on trying to have a more scares, but also have more humor, just having a good balance between the scares and the humor, which I thought was really cool. It did a lot better on that than Split did. Next is the Lego Batman movie. Now, I know that a lot of people love this movie and thought it had some great animation, which it does, I will give it that. And it does have some good characters in it, and I also will give it that. It's just, this movie didn't really get me as much as most people do. It's not terrible at all, no it's not. It's just, this movie really didn't get me emotionally attached to it. I mean, seriously, this movie was filled with humor. I mean, like seriously, it was trying to shove humor down your throat. And I was just like, hold on, keep the humor steady and calm, alright? Like, it tried to be a hilarious film, and I get that it's trying to be funny, but there's come a moment in time where you just have to focus on the story and make it a little bit more serious than funny. And I get the jokes, but it just, doing the jokes over and 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 over again just came off as repetitive and just not really funny anymore. And that's one of my problems with the Lego Batman movie. But other than that, it's a really good movie. I thought it was enjoyable, not perfect, but it's still better than I thought it was going to be in some aspects of it. I don't love it as much as most people do, but I can see why this movie was good. And I do think it's a good movie. Okay, guys, that is all the movies I've watched that I thought were really good. Now we're moving on to some really bad ones. Oh yeah, I've watched some bad movies, I will tell you that. So, here we go. Starting off with XXX, Return of Xander Cage. Now, honestly, this is the only bad movie that I actually laughed my butt off watching because of how over the top and self-serious it was. I mean, it was so serious and over the top that I actually laughed out loud at how ridiculous and just just how ridiculous this movie was. I mean, I busted out laughing like, what? I mean, yeah, I guess you could say I was pretty much entertained by just how truly bad this movie was. It doesn't change the fact that it was still a crappy film. I mean, I was entertained, but not in a way that the filmmakers for this film wanted me to. Seriously, guys, I laughed my butt off watching this film and how serious, deeply serious it was. That it was just laughable. I mean, I could not believe how this movie was made. But yeah, it's still a bad movie, but pretty entertaining in a way that you can actually watch it and just laugh at how ridiculously bad and serious this movie was. But yeah, guys, that's all I have to say about this movie. It was bad, but also entertaining. Now moving on to the more crappier ones, starting off with Rings. Now I will make this as perfectly clear as I can, okay? I've never watched any of the previous Rings movies. I'm pretty sure the first one was really good and scary. I heard so much about it and how ridiculously scary. No, not ridiculously. Just how scary it was. And I never watched the first one. I also didn't watch the second one, which I heard was not really good and unscary and stuff like that. So going into watching Rings, I didn't really know what to expect. I mean, it was not a really good film, I will give you that. There are some redeemable qualities about this movie that I have, but overall, it's just not a good horror film. But yeah, there were some intensely creepy and eerie scenes in the film, but overall, it came off as really repetitively unscary, or at least just half of it. And it, I had some other problems with it, but I guess being repetitively unscary is the only thing I could come up with for Rings. Resident Evil: The Final Chapter. Oh yeah, a final installment of the Resident Evil movie franchise. Like I said about Rings and Triple X Return of Xander Cage, I also didn't watch any of the first Resident Evil movies. And I don't know why. Maybe because I was too busy doing a lot of things while those movies came out in theaters. I don't know. But other than that, please don't ask me. But yeah, Resident Evil: The Final Chapter was an absolutely atrocious film. Like, seriously, guys, it was that terrible. The editing, I rarely talk about the editing. I don't talk about it very much, but this is one of those rare occasions where I have to talk about the editing in some films. The editing was what was the worst I have ever seen in any film I've watched. There are like so many jump cuts in each and every quarter of a second. I'm not exaggerating. This movie was edited in a way that was so horrendously awful, and it was just that bad. And some of the characters weren't that fun. None of them were redeemable. In fact, actually, there is zero redeeming qualities about Resident Evil: The Final Chapter. Zero. I hated this movie. Why did I even watch it? Why did I watch it? I don't know. Maybe because I want to know how bad this movie was. Maybe that's the only reason. I don't know. But anyway, I'm done with Resident Evil: The Final Chapter. It was horrendous. It was so horrible. I can't really say enough for it. Anyway, guys, those are the movies, good and bad movies, that I didn't review but later watched. Now, there might be some reasons for why I didn't review any of these movies and just constantly watch them and just leave them unreviewed from me. I could think of two reasons. One, some of them were so bad that I don't even want to review them. Or two, I've been wanting to go see them but never had the chance to do so. Either way, I watched those movies. Some of them were good, some of them were bad. And yeah, that's all I watched this year. Anyway guys, that is about it. If you guys enjoyed this video, please click the like button and comment down below to let me know what you think. And if you enjoy what you've seen here and you want to see future videos from me, please click the subscribe button so that you never miss a video. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great week, Battle Squad, and as always, fight the good fight. Peace!